Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Do what you want. I'm just trying.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the Force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
What I'm sure of now.
And what?
The fact
I don't
that's
What?
that's
See.
I heard you talking earlier.
Why am I not surprised?
I get the impression you two don't get along.
Intrusive and not very clever. Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
Sanders started screaming and convulsing.
Convulsing? That doesn't fit with his history.
Then his body got all crooked.
What in God's name? And you were alone with him?
He accused Sarah Hawkins of being the culprit.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
You're right. Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
We had a short conversation and then I left. I don't know what happened after that.
Oh, I see. Mr. Pierce, you must forgive my audaciousness. But I've had practice of life in high society for over 30 years. Reading one's interlocutors, recognizing the politeness of a lie, are things that are taught very... But your lie has nothing polite about it. It is crass. Try to understand my... I need to understand. Did you not do anything to...
It's terrible what happened to your husband, but I had nothing to do with it. I was injured, and I came across him in the hospital quite by chance.
Injured? Well, I'm delighted to see you in such fine fettle, Detective. Not everybody enjoyed such a prompt recovery.
I suppose Fuller does do miracles now and again.
Luck is obviously very kind to you. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. Did she really care for him after all? The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives. Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists. Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? A house of artists. He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She didn't want Sanders to have the painting. She must have felt devastated. Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins? The Shambler. I need to see it. Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph. I could use one of those. A strange Amerindian pendant. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What?
I'm not here to cause trouble.
Worry me. Don't overestimate yourself. If the last beating wasn't enough, but as long as you keep out of my way, you're free.
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network, a choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing. These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery. The public entrance to the gallery. Why was he so interested in old weapons? What the hell was that? I can't even touch it. choice. I must get rid of it. Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger. What the hell was that? Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger. I can't even touch it. Damn it! This dagger didn't work. I have to use a specific dagger. This dagger looks different.
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
I ran, screamed, broke a pane of glass. You were in the next room and you didn't hear a thing.
If I hadn't heard a thing, I'd still be in the other room. The door was blocked. I got in as soon as I could. I like to look after my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I've still got things to settle with Irene.
Where's the bookseller? Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary. What happened here? Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work. Someone tall left this footprint. A man, probably. This burglar seems to be rather clumsy. What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What killed all these animals? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the? Charles Hawkins? Looks like the symbol rejected Hawkins. Where did I see it? What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case. Arkham editions. Never heard of him. Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them. How many
Volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of them. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of them.
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet? Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills? Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe. What a strange amulet. I have a feeling I'd better not touch it. Things are not looking good.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold, To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them. And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
Did you inject him with a tranquilizer?
No, Doctor. Not me, not anyone. Our stock is empty, yet again.
Again? But there was enough for the whole island.
More and more people are suffering from insomnia. We can't refuse to help.
Of course.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Very well. I'll examine him. His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin, tender at the touch, slightly sticky. Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body. 30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know, I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not—
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull—
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last—
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to— And you won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier—
He seemed to feel better?
Yes. Like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients. Provide him with the best available.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
These are alarming symptoms. If we don't act, he'll die.
Do you believe that? I'm not as convinced, you see. I even think this man has a strong chance of completely healing from his ailments.
No, Doctor. This patient isn't himself anymore. He's dying.
Really? What do you mean by—
He's changing. His physical characteristics, they are more animal than human now.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more—
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will—
I will not let you—
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share mine. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to—
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest—
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Oh, that evidence exists. I'm sure of it. I need to find the missing medical file.
And where would you find those?
I'd rather not think about that.
Of course, Doctor.
Doctor, please. My chest. Oh.
His perfusion of a semi-physiological solution doesn't seem to work. He's undergoing a ventricular fibrillation. Nurse? Deborah, come and help me, please. His potassium level is too high. Replace it with 2% glucose solution with insulin.
I'll tend to it right away.
Thank you. He broke his back in an accident down by the docks.
Ah, the whaling station. What's wrong?
What are you talking about? Yes, it's Dr. Colden. Tell me what happened.
It's the old whaling station. See?
What did you see there?
Nothing. Nothing at all. The floor was all rotten and I fell.
And that's how you broke your back?
Perhaps. No idea. Passed out.
She recently came back from the surgical block. She's stable. Given her file, a nephrectomy would have been inevitable. But Fuller was able to save her kidney. Mrs. Sanders? Why did nobody tell me about her admission? Gentlemen, may I help you?
We're waiting on news regarding our mother, Maureen Harding. She came in with a kidney problem, but we haven't heard any...
I've tended to her, and I have good... Her blood analysis is reassuring.
Are you talking about the same person?
She's still recovering, but you may speak...
Oh, We'll wait for her to wake up. We've been...
Patients and hospital personnel eat the same food. What is the boiler room key doing here? The key to the boiler room. Not where I expected to find it. Another insomniac. I should find the cause for such a widespread trouble.
Dr. Colden, here you are at last. This patient was again brought up to the psychiatric wing. We've been following the treatment you prescribed, but the dysgeusia persists and he's lost a great deal of weight. We haven't been able to move him. The stress makes him hyperallergic.
Sir, I am going to examine you. Do you understand? Inject him with a dose of pentobarbital, intramuscular, so that I can conduct the clinical examination. He bit his lips so much, they're still bleeding. White froth, evidently because of such drooling. His binds left bloody wounds.
So, Doctor, what should we do with this patient?
Those basement brutes tied him up too tight, and now he's hurt.
I keep trying to heal his wounds, but he reopens them.
Do you have a diploma?
Excuse me?
So take care of this man.
It's a quiet little town. Days go by, steady as ever.
There's no
I
way
wanted
I'm
more for
leaving until I find what
myself, but-
Fuller is hiding.
I don't get why they have us waiting so long. Almost no patients here.
Ethan,
Marie,
what are you doing here?
I'm waiting for my medication, of course. Why?
You're not here for treatment, right?
Am I so obvious?
Only to me.
I trust you. I'm happy to see you.
Me too, Ethan.
Well, there might be something else. I'm not sure.
Tell me.
I have nightmares. They keep me awake. It seems stupid, I know, but they're
Actually, you're...
No. No one has ever seen the things It's like I'm turning mad.
So many people have this affliction. It's like an epidemic.
Do you think it might be...
I don't know yet, but everyone in Darkwater is suffering from nightmares.
Really?
We don't have any medication left.
Oh, there's no excuse then. I should let you work.
Take care, Ethan.
You too, Marie.
Where did my fiancée go? I hope those nutcases will stop burdening her
Dr.
with work.
Colden.
This man, Edward Pierce, his file is incomplete.
What? Thank you for your help, Doctor.
Thank you. I'll be going. Dr. Fuller always keeps his key with him. In theory, this is where we hang the key to the boiler room.
Sorry, but nobody can take anything until I finish the inventory.
The operating room is never accessible after an operation. Let's hope I can go through the administration office. I don't have any business in the boiler room.
No, you're pulling my leg. I'm not joking. I saw the schedule. She's alone in the bathroom again.
The doses prescribed by Fuller are far too high.
And she still says nothing to that old witch, Donovan?
Oh, listen to the way you talk, you naughty girl.
We've been waiting to be restocked for weeks.
And the answer is no. You can imagine that she doesn't dare say a thing. That silly goose lets herself be trodden.
Everybody says it. She's a witch, an old hag. I didn't...
Elizabeth? You all right?
Because, as always, I'm cleaning it by myself, and the water was once again shut off. I had to bother Mrs. Donovan again, giving her a new excuse to belittle me.
Do you really need Mrs. Donovan to open a valve? Why not ask the janitor?
I can't make these decisions without her approval. Imagine if there were a leak. Anyhow, the boiler room is locked half the time. So every time the water gets shut off, I have to go and endure her reproach.
I see. Courage, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Doctor.
It's temperamental, if I understand correctly.
Everybody says it. She's a witch, an old hag. I didn't make this up. And I'm the one who pays. What a pest. It's so unfair.
I have little time for you, Doctor. You'll find out that it's not only the doctors who have things to do. Wait a minute. Where do you think you're going? Dr. Colden.
Mrs. Donovan.
Nobody goes into Dr. Fuller's office. But rest assured, I'll tell him you came.
That won't be necessary.
I will tell him.
The door to the boiler room is locked. Where did I see that key? Ah, yes. We're running out of this medicine.
I know. Can't you?
Donovan takes her instructions directly from Dr. Fuller. I'm afraid I can do nothing.
Watch out for the water, Doctor.
The key to the boiler room. All I have to do is shut off the water and hope Donovan takes the bait. I can't shut this with my bare hands. I need a tool. I feel guilty about Elizabeth, but I need the diversion. It's temperamental, if I understand correctly.
Dr. Colden, might there be a
I was about to mention it. It seems it's
I can't take this,
It's not your fault if we have
And yet, I'm the one who gets punished because I'm gonna have to Courage, Elizabeth. Mrs. Donovan?
I'm busy. Elizabeth, isn't it?
At last. The Stendhal syndrome. Of course. This is where I should go another way. Something is wrong with these masts. It's some sort of puzzle. I've unlocked something. Patient files. I was right.
Conclusions. Session number 17. Patient? Sarah Hawkins. The patient appears to have finally accepted the illusory nature of what she calls the mythos.
This finger belonged to a woman. Why keep it here?
The price that comes with her exceptional gifts.
Why is Ethan on medication? Why does Dr. Fuller write psychological reports about Sarah Hawkins?
At first, I presumed that her blood was the key. But I found nothing to explain Mrs. Hawkins' abilities.
The poor souls downstairs are not Fuller's only subjects.
Then James came, irate that Charles was keeping secrets from him. I presume that he will try to break into the basement sooner or later. I am prepared.
Hawkins, Fitzroy, and Fuller. What is the connection between these three?
It is fortunate that I had the presence of mind to set the morgue in the basement. When all the fuss about the Hawkins incident finally comes to an end, I will dispose of her belongings. In the meantime, they must remain hidden in plain sight.
Of course. Sarah Hawkins is the connection. I must go back to the basement.
Ah, now that's the Marie that I know. I knew I could count on your scientific curiosity. It's time to show you what you were so eager to discover.
If you're gonna shoot me, at least have the decency to look me in the eyes.
Turn around. Slowly. Talk, filthy thief! Or I swear I'll shoot!
Take a minute to look around. Everything points to Charles Hawkins.
He's dead!
No. He was here for a very specific item.
Oh, no.
The book. Why was it in the safe?
Have you read it?
Answer the question.
How foolish of you. Now you won't be able to escape his will. What did it show you?
She went into Fuller's office. She was looking for Sarah Hawkins' corpse.
Sarah Hawkins, you say? Let's go back to the start, shall we? Whose life did the Necronomicon choose to show you?
Dr. Colden. She was at the Riverside Institute. She's in danger. I have to go.
Wait. No one knows the occult better than me. You might need my help.
All right. All right. I might need you after all.
Perfect. Let's meet later at the Hawkins mansion. Now go! Rescue the doctor!
Thank you, Drake.